Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in the Fletcher. And I am joined by none other than Battleship RU and Triken, or Treeken. I forget how to pronounce it, but they both are content creators. I will leave a link to Battleship's channel down in the description. I don't think I actually have Triken's channel, but if I can find it, I will definitely leave it down there as well. So for those of you who didn't get a chance to make it to Battleship's stream, I actually joined him for his live stream this afternoon, and we had a lot of fun, man. It was a completely different experience. So I know there's a language barrier there. I don't speak Russian. Fortunately, we had a translator with Triken who was translating everything he could. But overall, I mean, you don't really need to speak the same language as long as you have a common goal, which is working towards a victory, right? So that's something we can all work with. And so in this particular match, we're in the Fletcher, and we are going to do everything in our power to win this match for the team and work together. And it was surprising how effective we worked together. Again, when it comes down to it, like if you've played the game a lot, like we have, you tend to be able to read each other pretty well, and you can do a good job of supporting each other, even if you don't speak. Like, let's be honest. We all know that most of us don't use the in-game chat, right? Like, most of us do not speak in-game. I don't, because I tend to get upset, and the last thing anybody wants to hear is me complaining in chat. But we use other means of communication in-game with the dialogue wheel and, you know, stuff like that. Or I can just pay attention to what's going on around me and try to help my team. Now, being in a destroyer is something that I do really, really well, even if it's something that a lot of folks don't necessarily recognize me for, and that is just simply due to the fact that, like, let's be honest, I'm a battleship guy, right? Everybody's like, oh, he's the battleship guy. But I can play a destroyer pretty much with anybody. I think I can, I have the win rate to prove it in destroyers. Most of my destroyers are 70+% win rate because I played to win. So notice what I do here. I drop torps on both of the battleships, and then I also spotted the torpedoes, called them out for my teammates so that they can dodge them really easily. We knew the destroyer was there as well, which is why I didn't go immediately towards these two battleships. And our first torpedo strike is going to be the most devastating torpedo strike I have ever gotten with a Fletcher. We hit 6 out of the 10 torpedoes on the enemies, and we put up 70,000 damage. Now, Bismarck just used his damage con, we know that, so we're going to go ahead and slow down, use our smoke, and immediately try to get the fire on the Bismarck and finish him off. He tries to turn to get all of his guns on target, and so we're just going to try to finish him off. You can see, I think that was the Azuma that hit him there, but between us, we managed to get rid of another one. So 2 battleships down. The destroyer is the next one. The Azuma is starting to push in, so we're going to go ahead and turn in and try to help get rid of the destroyer. I do point out to the Azuma that the destroyer is on the left side of that island heading towards him, so he's already ready to go. And we're going to head back into the cap here and see if we can't get a little bit closer. Now, we do have another battleship coming over to support his team as well, but you can see ZF6 is right here. We're going to get inside the torpedoes pretty easily. Unfortunately, we just never got a chance to do anything to the ZF6 here because he stays behind the island from us. I do believe the Azuma ends up getting some good shots on him, but the Nagato is starting to think about pushing in. We also have, I believe it's a Suja out here on this right side, so we're going to get ready to attack him as well. The Azuma ends up taking torpedoes from the Z, and we're in a position where we can try to help attack if he comes around the island. But the Nagato decides at the last moment he needs to try to push in on us, so I can't really get into a gunfight. Also, he is being supported by the Suja, who is now turned back in as well. So here I'm trying to let the Nagato decide what he wants to do, because I need to make these torpedoes count. So we wait for him to slow down and turn in. We launch the torpedoes in the front of him, and then some behind just in case he decides to turn in. That way we're pretty much guaranteed to land a couple of torpedoes here. We are able to help start flipping the cap here, but we're not expecting to get the cap because of the fact that, I mean, our guy's probably going to get shot here. Now, Battleship is going around the outside edge of the map, so he's setting up a crossfire where he can. I do land a couple of torpedoes here on the Nagato on his way in, which was nice. We didn't get a flood, so that means he just damage conned, unfortunately. So we didn't get that perma flood. That would have been real nice. But knowing that he just damage conned, knowing that it's Japanese and has a really quick cooldown on the damage con, we go ahead and get that perma fire going, and then we're going to go ahead and just keep shooting. Now, shooting a Nagato and having a Suja nearby was probably not my best play, but Nagato, he clearly can't aim. So we're okay there. It's the Suja that's a problem. And as I say that, the Nagato replies with the rear guns and slaps me pretty good. But Suja is actually going to be a problem. So we're going to try to break contact here, get behind the island to avoid as much damage as we can. And unfortunately, that's going to take us out of play. But because they forced themselves into a position to shoot us, that left them broadside to our teammate, who manages to clean up the Suja pretty easily. And now the Nagato has no hit points, and he should be able to be taken out on the next shot. So, again, this is a perfect example of teamwork, right? We have a battleship working the flanks, trying to get the crossfire. We have a super cruiser going into the cap, utilizing that faster fire rate than battleships and those hard-hitting guns to put himself in a good position, tanking damage where they have to, but not throwing their hit points away. All of these things are things that players need to pay attention to and try to do more effectively. Now, we all get caught occasionally, and you can watch the stream back at any point. You can see that, like, we all at some point or another got caught. It happens, but trying to minimize that as best you can is always going to be a good idea. Now, what I do next here, unfortunately, I don't manage to get into the cap in time to get a assist cap for this, but we are going to push forward, and I do notice that the destroyer is clearly in the Bravo cap here, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and call out to our Azuma that the destroyer's in the Bravo cap and that he is towards the left side of the island. Just using our RPF or radio position finding, whatever you want to call it, we can tell roughly the direction that the destroyer's in, right? So now that the Azuma knows this, he's going to get close to the island. He's actually going to sonar the guy and light him up in the middle. So he's got his plane up already. We're going to go ahead and try to get around our battleship here. I wasn't sure exactly what our plan was going to be for the end. So I was wanting to make sure that if, worst case scenario, if our battleship needed to dodge, he'd be able to dodge without having to worry about me being in his way. Because we know the torpedoes would be coming from roughly the front, right? So if I get off of his left side, he should be able to turn left and use that island for scraping the torpedoes off. But you can see here we get him spotted. Azuma's going to roll around the corner and pretty much just murder the guy. There's nothing he can do about it. Meanwhile, Kuchezov's being shot at by our battleship. There's not a whole lot I can do at this point. I've done my job. I've done everything I needed to do. At this point, we move forward. We get into a position to help flip the center cap. And at that point, the game is just down to the sharpshooters to finish off all of these other guys. It's one of the downsides of being in a destroyer. Like, you get in a situation like this where you clear up your flank and then it just comes down to a bunch of people shooting all the other things. But battleship coming in with the Georgia, absolutely murdering the Kuchezov. And so at this point, it's just a couple of battleships left, and they're not long for this world. So we are going to go ahead and just get into the cap, try to get a little bit of extra XP, and we'll call this a day. But I want everybody to know, like, I truly enjoyed the stream. I know there's a language barrier there for a lot of people. When they tuned into the stream, they weren't able to understand what was going on. But personally, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that's saying something, because I don't really enjoy division play all that much too often, because I get social anxiety. You guys know this. I've talked about this many times. Like, my head starts to get all, like, clustered up because everybody's talking. So this was actually surprisingly fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So if you guys get a chance, make sure you guys head over, check out their channel. I will leave a link down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We end up top 3 on the team. Shocker. With the 3 of us, we end up putting up, 7 of the enemy's 9 kills. So, yeah. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing, punch the like button. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in the next video.